Hey everybody, this is John and welcome to my YouTube channel, Retire Well. In this particular episode, we're going to be talking about the tax brackets. I get a lot of questions about how do the tax brackets work. I hear somebody say, hey, I'm in the highest tax bracket or I'm in a very low tax bracket. Maybe if I'm about to retire or thinking about retirement, I know I'm going to have a certain amount of income from various sources, Social Security or IRA distributions or whatnot, pensions. How is that going to be taxed? So I just want to show you, first of all, I just want to mention I'm not a tax advisor. I'm not a CPA. Any tax questions, you should always go to your CPA or a professional. I am a financial planner. Taxes are incidental to investing, retirement planning, and things like that. So it's good to have a working knowledge of this. So anyway, I wanted to show you a couple of examples. So in my practice, what I do for my clients, I do a tax analysis for them every year. So I have some fantastic software. Shout out to the great folks at Holistiplan. It produces a nice 1 or 2 page tax report with all the pertinent information that you really need to know out of that giant tax return that you end up with that nobody ever looks at. So anyway, I want to show you a couple examples of that. So in this first example, this is a married filing jointly couple, and so as you can see here, they have roughly about $67,000 in total income, and now they have a lot of deductions. So it could be medical, could be taxes, things like that. So they end up with taxable income of roughly about $30,000. And so you'll notice in that middle column here, this particular report breaks down what's the marginal rate and also what's the average rate. And so you may say, hey, I'm in a 12% tax bracket, but that doesn't mean I'm paying 12% on all my income. So their average rate that they're actually paying tax on is about 5%. So I'm going to break that down. So we're going to look at this next slide here. This will actually show you the actual tax brackets. You'll see on the left-hand column, 10, 12, 22, 24, 32, 35, and 37. So with this particular couple, they have income of roughly about $30,000. You'll see out there on the right. So that puts them in the what's called the 12% tax bracket. So that's the marginal tax rate. So what that really means is that if their next dollar, so if I took a distribution from an IRA, I had another dollar of income from somewhere, that's going to be taxable at 12%. However, so the way these tax brackets work is that, as you can see, 0 to $19,750 is taxable at a 10% rate. $19,750 to, in their case, $29,939 is taxable at a 12% rate. So their marginal tax rate is 12%. Is that they're in a 12% tax bracket. Their next dollar will be taxable at 12. But that doesn't mean they're paying 12% on all their income. Their average tax rate, if you recall, is 5%. So also, if you're doing the math at home and you're thinking, how do they come up with 5%? Well, let's go back to that summary page where it shows their adjusted gross income, or the AGI. That is $66,103. This particular couple has a lot of deductions, and so their actual taxable income gets down to $30,000, and then the total tax was $3,335. So that 5% rate refers to what percentage of the adjusted gross income are they actually paying in tax. Just an FYI. Now, what can you do with this information for this particular client? Now, you'll notice that if this couple had $30,000 in income, well, they have some room to go in that 12% tax bracket. So if you think, hey, 12 is a very low rate, it's an acceptable rate to produce more income, they could do a lot of things with that information. They could take more money out of their retirement accounts. They could do things like a Roth conversion and only pay tax at a low rate. Basically fill up that low tax bracket, because you'll notice once they get over $80,000, the next dollar is going to be taxed at 22%. So that's a 10% bump. So for this particular client, I would advise that, hey, there's a lot of things you can do. Take out more from retirement accounts, convert to Roth, things like that. So there are some opportunities in discussing these tax brackets and making sure you don't let a low bracket go to waste, so to speak. So let's look at another scenario. So this is another couple, and they're also married filing jointly. And if you look at their summary, the summary table there, you'll notice they have total income of about $178,000. They clearly took the standard deduction, which is $24,800, and so they ended up with taxable income of $152 roughly. So if you look over to the right, you'll notice that part of their income was capital gains and part of it was dividends. Those capital gains can be taxed at a different rate. and not ordinary income. So for this particular example, you're going to notice that their taxable income, their actual taxable income, is lower than that 152 figure that you see when we look at the tax brackets. I'll do a separate video on how capital gains are taxed and qualified dividends, but we're really just talking about ordinary income in this particular video. So let's switch over to their tax bracket sheet, and you'll see there that their taxable income, ordinary income, is 125 roughly. And so that puts them in the 22% tax bracket. So now note, again, the first 20,000 roughly is taxable at 10%. The 20,000 to 80,000 is taxable at 12, and then in their case 80,000 to 125 is taxable at 22. So if we go back to the summary sheet, their average tax rate was 13.1%. So again, the next dollar that they take out of their retirement account or any type of income is taxable at 22%, but that doesn't mean they're paying 22% on all of their income. So it's just a good example of how these brackets work. Again, marginal rate, where's my next dollar taxed at? Average rate is what I'm really paying tax on after deductions and everything. So these are just a couple of examples of how the tax brackets work, and I hope that clears it up a bit and you have a little bit better understanding of how those different bands of the tax brackets work. If you have any questions, my contact information is in the About section of my YouTube channel. Please feel free to reach out anytime. If you'd like some clarification on a particular topic, or if you'd like me to produce another video on a certain subject, please feel free to reach out anytime. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel, and you'll be notified of any new videos that come out. And I really hope you enjoyed this video, and thank you for watching.